Hello there, sword friends. Today I'm going to tell you about this sword right here. It is a project that I got from sword friend Frank, who sold me this sword in a state of some degree of finishedness. I basically only had to have it wrapped, but I did a little bit more. I bought the sword. It's a James Raw katana, and it had some antique fittings on it. The sword needed some work, and I sent it off to the mystery man in black and said, have your witchy ways with it, and did. I didn't really care how it came out. The objective was to be inexpensive and done, but also zazzy, because I'm probably going to end up selling this, so I wanted it to be pretty and presentable. And frankly, the white on the scabbard, it had some stains that were starting to show through, and I don't exactly know why it was the way it was, but it just didn't look quite right. Also, the color that was going to go on the handle was a goldish color. Initially it was going to be a slightly lighter brown or goldish colored detail, but this stuff is a little more flimsy and less good. The man in black said, no, I don't want to work with that. So I didn't make him because he knows better than I do. Anyway, now it is finished, and I thought I would share it with you. I'll put dimensions and all of that malarkey in the description down below. I haven't really used it, though I'm debating using it. I'm not sure if I will or won't, because it has some blemishes on it from before, and I'll explain. Anyway, why don't I start with the fun bits. So this is the Kashra, and what it is I believe an antique. I don't know exactly how antique or not, but it's got a little shirodome that I can get my fingers underneath. Overall, very pleasant in terms of overall execution. I mean, these things can often be kind of expensive. Dragons are a pretty common theme. These look like they have some level of prettiness to them. They're not just plain Jane things. The transitions here are pretty nice. Now, initially I got a Tsuka core with the blade, but so the mystery man in black had to make it up new again because it didn't quite fit. Anyway, you can see the knot on here is good. It's got brown silk, and it's very tight and nice. Underneath there's black samegawa. The Minuki, I'm not sure. I think they are reproduction pieces, though I'm not entirely sure what they are. They're dragons over like in a ceremonial sword or some such thing, but they're adorned and pretty enough. You can make out some of the details on here, though I don't think they're anything particularly zazzy or special. Anyway, the Ito is nice, and here we go on the Fushi. And again, you can see it's got some waves and a dragon, and dragons on a sword, par for the course, but nevertheless, dragons on a sword are cool. That's why they did it for 1,000 years. Tsuba, now this is an antique. It could be fitted on there a little tighter. It just needs a little bit of a pounding with a nail set. It just needs to be tightened up horizontally. It doesn't move this way, but it does move this way. Anyway, you can see the dragon. Very dragon themed. There's dragons everywhere. If you don't find at least 22 of them, you're missing at least 21 of them. That doesn't make any sense. On the opposite side, you've got a dragon foot there, I think, or dragon toes, anyway. Now the sai isn't quite as shapely in this area. It's actually on the thinner side. Now transitionally it's actually nice, but it's not, it doesn't line up quite. This is a little slender for me. It doesn't feel like it's as beefy, I guess, as it could be, but maybe that's just because I'm used to beefier sai. Anyway, transitions, they all line up. The sai came done, and as I noted, it was painted in this white color. Now it's tough to make out from my light, but underneath here you can see there are strips of the original white lacquer, and it's been re-lacquered in gloss black, and you can see it kind of has this almost birch barky kind of effect. Now, one of the downsides to the sai is that it bound somewhere in here, and basically it led to a bunch of scuffs on the blade. I don't know what wood this was made from, but anyway, how it was made was enough to bind the blade somewhere in the middle and create a bunch of streaks on the blade. That's not good. The mystery man in black kind of rasped it out. I don't know what tool he used, but he tried to clean out the center. So now it still binds a little bit. It gets a little tight in here, not just on the habaki, but I guess that serves to hold the blade in. It's a little bit tight here, and it's worth noting that the saya binds ever so slightly in this area. Anyway, we can talk about the blade a little bit. This is a James Raw blade. I would say this almost has an O Kisaki, not necessarily the biggest one, but a larger than average Kisaki. And you can see this is where the polish has kind of been muddied up a little bit from the previous saya. It's not deep gouges or scratches, but it certainly affected the polish and the etch that James sent on this blade. I don't know if this is a characteristic of his etch or not, but it always has a somewhat unique pattern to it. And then this is the habaki. Had to be tampered with a little bit to get it to fit right, but it's on there pretty good. Anyway, as I noted, I will include dimensions for the sword here in the description down below. Basically, this is it's an agile and fun moving sword. Now, I know to some people the tsuba moving around is less than ideal. It can be tightened. These are antique fittings, and honestly, depending on what style of martial art you study, this is some tactile feedback that lets you know you're kind of doing your chiburi correctly. Anyway, the point is that this is actually a nimble, fun, light sword. It's beefy, and many of the blades that I've had from James in the past have been similarly beefy, but this one, I don't know if it's the antique fittings or that it kind of forcibly made the ska a little more slender in the hand. I'm not sure anyway. For a beefy sword, it sure does move around comfortably. It's not bad to move. I did a little bit of with a little bit of kata, but not a whole lot. It's nice enough to move around, and I'm debating cutting with it, but I might not. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with it. The point is, I'm probably going to sell this. I bought this from sword friend Frank, who fell on some hard times, and so I opted to, well, I don't know if I was exactly helping out, but I bought some stuff from him, and really I bought it just so I could, and I plan on selling it now that this project's done. So this will go up for sale. I don't know if it's still for sale by the time you get around to watching this, but if it is, it'll be on the eBay thing in the link down below, and if it's not, then anyway, hopefully this gave you an idea of what a project can come out to if you opt to get a blade from James Raw and have dragons bedazzled and adorn it all over the place. I think it came out pretty nice. I do have to say I like it though. Challenges, I would say the saya binding a little bit is less than ideal, and the fittings are a little bit small for a blade of this size. You can kind of see where it almost really doesn't line up in this area. It's not perfect, but I'd imagine that's because trying to fit these antique Japanese swords on modern blades is really rough. These are usually not more than 38 millimeters in terms of how wide they are, and really an extra 2 millimeters goes a long way in trying to fit it and get everything to line up. Anyway, overall, it's still a handsome sword. I don't know what I'm going to charge for it. It'll be on eBay. Hopefully the video is interesting. As always, cheers, and thanks for watching.